Welcome to the Modern Eco Village. We are building a community in the south of Spain for 500 households, a complete community focused on health, sustainability, and community interaction. Our goal is to create a green oasis where we can upgrade different aspects of our lives, get closer to nature while keeping the modern comfort and technology. So listen up.
Hi, Stephen. This week, what are we talking about?
About frequently asked questions from people on the project, right? As far as I'm aware. So,
well, first of all, is there a way to say FAQ?
In a polite way?
Yeah.
Only by saying it out completely, yeah. So, frequently asked questions.
Okay, so behind the mixer, there's Cassie.
Hello, hello.
So Cassie's going to walk us through the most asked questions.
Okay.
So what's question number one?
All right, the first question is, what if the project fails?
Oh, man.
Okay, well, that's...
I had to hit you with the big one.
Yeah, that's a big one to start with. It's a very genuine concern. So I completely understand people's concern about that, and I think about it a lot as well. I think one of the things to say is I've invested a lot of money, as Iancu has, in this project as well. So we are all in on this project. So we have a vested interest in making sure it doesn't fail. That's the first question.
Oh, you know what? That's what I tell people always. Look at me, take me as an example. If I was crazy enough to risk everything on this, then your investment should be also safe. Yeah,
so we're both heavily invested in this. That's the first thing. Secondly, which is also, I think, interesting to note, is we have bought the land and we've had that valued by Valmesa recently, and it came in at 2 or 3 times what we paid for it.
Actually, close to 4.
Close to 4. Okay.
Yeah.
So
in the state that it is right now.
Yes.
But when it's going to be fully
planning.
developed, it's times 10.
Times 10. Yeah. So that means that the company that's developing this has an asset value that is more than we've paid for it, significantly more than we've paid for it. So, worst case scenario, if it all was to go pear-shaped, and I certainly hope it doesn't, but we would wind the company up and we would have to sell the assets, and the assets would be worth more than we've paid for them so far. So I think my view is that yes, stuff happens, shit happens, as they say, but we're working hard to make sure it doesn't happen. And if worst case scenario, if we have to wind the company up, there are assets now that the company owns the land, and they're worth more than we've paid. And every day that we do more and more preparation work, clearing the site, clearing the plots, leveling the site,
the value increases.
Yeah. So I think if you are to be worried about it, then the early days of the project are the times where you have to worry about it. As the project gets more and more successful and more mature, the concern about that goes away. So that's my first part of the answer. The second part of the answer is we are also looking into getting bank avals as well, bank guarantees. And so one of the options that we are offering to people when they reserve their plots is that they can actually protect their investment by using a bank guarantee, which will cost you more money, but that's an option as well. So if you're concerned, you can protect it with a bank guarantee. So I think both of those things together are as safe as...
all the house contracts, like house purchasing contracts, will have naturally bank guarantees.
Yes.
But we're talking now about the membership and not the membership, but the reservation process.
And also the earlier investors as well. So if you want to, you can pay extra to get those, yes.
Yeah. Well, the way I see it, just like you explained in more words than this, the company has assets that are worth way more than what we're taking from people or what we're using.
Yes. So far.
Yeah. Yes. So it's all safe, and the second we start selling houses, they're all going to be guaranteed by a bank, so there's no risk involved.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
All right. The next question is, people want to know about the price increase. So
I'll let the marketing department do that one.
Well, I don't want this to sound like a sales speech, but the prices will increase, right? Yes. I mean, it's normal. In order to make the project as as attractive as possible, we obviously imagine a situation where people didn't have to pay that much for their houses. Mm-hmm. The reality, however, it's a bit different, and as we have a lot of people with experience in this project, right? The constructor, the lawyers, and the architect, all these people working towards the same goal. And my understanding of what things cost, and your understanding what things cost, well, you're the project manager, so your understanding should be better than mine. But even so, the project is ever evolving.
Yes.
The houses are upgrading always and changing, and the master plan and what people want for the common areas and all that. So you're not just buying a house; you're buying the entire concept, right? Yeah. So buying yourself in a concept like that, if the concept upgrades and grows, obviously the prices are gonna grow with it. And what can we did promise these people that join us now in this early phase that they can keep their prices.
Yes.
So yes, the prices will increase, but for a very good reason. I mean, we're not.
Well, it's also. I mean, it's very typical for any development project. You get in early, you pay a lower price, and typically every project as it goes through phase after phase, the price goes up 20 or 30%.
That's the standard,
and that's a standard, and that's the same as this project. So prices will go up, and I would imagine that an early investment now would be a very good investment in the future. So if you're looking at this project in 5 or 6 years' time, when it's fully mature and it's all developed, the houses were going to be worth a lot more money than they are now.
Yeah.
And that's normal, and that's why people invest, right? So
right.
They invest to get a return. But you're not only investing to get a return on your house, you're investing also in your health and lifestyle. That's the most important part of this project, is to get the sustainable lifestyle, but you're also getting the investment as well. So I think it's a no-brainer.
It is. I mean, we made it very easy for them.
Yeah.
All you have to do is become a member, and you would lock in those prices.
Yes.
And the membership fee is fully refundable if you decide to withdraw from the project. So I don't see how people can get confused about how good of a deal this is. But there's obviously so many questions.
I guess another way of looking at this, though, is, and I don't know, Cassie, if you can confirm, if you know what the actual focus of the question is, how much are the price increases? Was that the thing, or why are the price increases, or
people just wanted to have more information about the price increases and a little
so
bit
you mean the volume of the magnitude of the price increase? So my understanding is it's going up 10-15%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's going up the 1st of June. So there's still time. People that want to lock in these prices, there's still time to become a member and lock these prices that we have now.
Yes.
And that's the price for the villas, all 3 types that we have so far, and also the modular townhouses.
Yes. And I guess another advantage of getting in early, not only securing lower prices, but you're securing your selection of plot. So you can pick the best plots, and there's been a lot of flurry of interest of people coming down to the site saying, I want this, and then when you get to site they see a different plot and they want to change and all that.
That literally happened yesterday.
Yeah, which is very normal. I've been there a few times and I keep changing my mind as well. But so depending on what you want, getting in early, because there are only a limited number of plus villas and standard villas that you can pick. So depending on what you want.
Actually, that's one thing that we haven't talked about before.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there are 107 villas were there, but we assigned a type of villa for each individual plot because of topography, because of the size of the plot, because of all of that, right? So it's kind of set. We know how many plus villas we have, and we know how many standard villas, but those are not 107. It's like, 20.
Yes.
Or like, 2-story villas is like, 7. So there's actually not so much choice. So if you get in early, you can secure your dream house, right?
Yes.
But that we're talking about reservations now, not about memberships.
Yes.
Yeah, with the membership you lock in the prices. With a reservation you can reserve your desired plot. Yeah.
Yes, and the house type as well.
Yes, a house type. Yeah, like get a good one now.
Cool.
So there's some 10 days, 11 days left until the 1st of June. So now is the time, right, Cassie?
Yeah, it's the perfect time.
Yeah, good. She agrees.
And the next question.
And the next question, a lot of people have asked about natural catastrophes and about the water.
I mean, they're reasonable questions, right? I mean, so much happened.
Yeah. Well, I actually think that if there is and I'm not even a natural catastrophe, but if there's a government catastrophe or a huge meltdown in society, which I think is highly possible, that the best place to be is actually in the MEV.
Absolutely.
If you look at all the political stuff that's happening all over the world, the trade wars, the tariffs and all that sort of stuff, the place I would want to be is out of the middle of all of this and somewhere quiet and relaxed. So I think from a catastrophe perspective, actually that's the best place to be. And then if you look at it from a natural disaster perspective, the wind speed in the area is very low, so you're not going to get any hurricanes or anything.
Surrounded by
hills. You're on a hill, so flooding is not really an issue.
And there is the dam.
We're near the dam, which obviously is a lake, yes, and the lake can get slightly higher, but it's a dam, so they can release the water. So the water level is never going to go more than a couple of meters above where it is now. We are more than 100 meters away from the edge of the lake anyhow, so the water has to kind of go up significantly, which would then breach the dam wall. So from a flood perspective, you're covered. I don't think there's ever been any fires recorded in the area either. I was talking to Elise by that before. So, and again, we're going through the site now, clearing all of the dead vegetation and stuff that can be flammable. So again, that's not an issue. In terms of security, we're talking about having a security company sort out the security. So
it's going to be a close community with cameras on the perimeter.
Yeah. So from a kind of undesirable people wandering into your site, I think that's covered as well. So have we thought about everything? Probably not. But I think we've gone, considering where we are in the project, we've gone a long way to try and address a lot of the concerns. I think also from a security perspective, we're an urban site, as I think you mentioned in several of your broadcasts before. So we have a right to electricity if we need it. We have a right to water. So we have
Actually, water was one of the biggest questions.
Yeah, I know.
Will we run out of water?
Yeah, running out of water is worse than actually not having too much of it. So I think we have a security for water. We have
drinking water.
And we have a security for electricity with our solar panels. So worst case scenario, if you need water, you start taking it out of the lake. So I think we're covered as well as any development.
Food, electricity, community, and safety.
Yes.
So it's pretty safe, I would say. Is that a good answer, Cassie?
I think that was perfect. Yeah, you covered all bases.
Cool.
And another question people were asking about is kind of on the lines of privacy.
Mm-hmm.
So people want to know about privacy, and then neighbors wondering how it's gonna
overlooking and stuff like that. Is it, or privacy?
Yeah.
I think that's a genuine concern. I think it's a bigger concern for possibly the modular houses or the modular townhouses rather than the villas, because the villas are going to be set in their own plots and land and stuff. So, and they're all also on terraces as well. So you're going to have views out over the lake and out over the mountains. So will you see your neighbours? Yes. You probably, if you're higher up the mountain, you'll probably see the roof of the villa below you. You're not going to be looking into people's bedrooms or looking into their terraces or whatever. In the modular townhouses, we're talking about putting growing hedges around all of the terraces and also around all the gardens. So the idea is that you eliminate any overlooking issues, which I understand.
But that was the idea of the townhouses, because all the people that really like the idea of the modular townhouses, they like the idea of being in the community and being close to their neighbors and having a lot of common areas and all that. But they wanted to have that little private garden, right? So that's what we're doing.
And that's the really great thing about the community. The build density is a lot lower than you get in towns and stuff. So we've actually got quite a lot of green spaces and big gardens and big plots. I mean, bigger than normal plots. So there's plenty of area to kind of chill out and relax. And a lot of the stuff you can do is you can actually landscape your own garden, right? So if you feel particularly worried about overlooking issues, you plant more trees, you plant more garden, and kind of protect yourself, screen yourself from your neighbours. But I don't think there's a big problem, to be honest.
Well, actually, that's actually a question that came out quite a lot. What if I don't like my neighbour?
Well, it's okay. I've moved away from you now, so it's okay. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, actually, you moved over the street.
I've moved over the other side of the road. Yes. I think it's a question that everyone gets, and I think one of the things about the community is that we're all got sort of a similar background and a similar interests. So I think the chances of us having massive conflicts with each other are greatly reduced. But it is a question. Do I get on with my neighbours? Not all the time, but I don't think if you don't get on with your neighbours particularly well, you don't have to be spending all your time with them, right? I mean, it's a community. You can spend a lot of your time in the communal areas. You can be traveling. You can be all over the place. So you can be walking
out of 500 families, there's bound to be somebody that you agree with. Yeah.
Absolutely, but I think the chances of it happening are less than in normal situations, normal developments.
Well, in all fairness, we're not excluding anyone from this project, but the project kind of filters itself, because these interviews that we have, nobody can reserve without having an interview with us, and we're not having the interviews in order to select the people that's going to join us. We have the interviews so that people can understand
the concept.
Yeah. So if they all understand the concept, they're pretty much looking for the same thing, and that's going to make for a lot of people that have the same ideas about life and sustainable living and community and all of that.
Yeah, and from my experience of who I've met so far, everyone seems to be joining with huge amounts of skill sets in different areas.
Yeah, so very resourceful people. Yeah,
no, and they're all clever, like-minded people of a certain kind of area that want to make this work. So I think it'll be very successful. So.
I think so too. Yeah. What's next, Cassie?
All right, we got.
Do you agree though? Because you talk to everyone.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it naturally kind of like weeds itself out in a way, but in the good way. So we have 2 more questions. One of them is about the timeline. People want to know about that. And then I will ask the second one about mortgages.
Okay. So timeline, overall, this is more or less a 5-year project. And we're talking about 5 phases of build. So phase 1, and so you can look at it as each phase being approximately a year. So that's the way to look at it.
I think phase 1 is going to overlap with phase 2, though.
Yeah, it doesn't mean absolutely. We don't have to just do one phase at a time. We can overlap them, and certainly for phase 1, which is primarily is just villas. There's no reason why we can't start phase 2, which is primarily modular townhouses. They could start. It's a different skill set. It's a different build, and it's going to be a different team of builders to do that. So there's no reason we can't expedite stuff by overlapping some of the phases. But as a general rule, if you say 5 phases, 5 years, 1 phase a year, that would be a pretty simple way of just explaining it. It doesn't explain it completely, but it gives people an understanding. And then in terms of timelines, when we're starting, we're hoping to get to be appointed the overall developer by end of July sometime, which is really quick. A lot of help from the local mayor to try and get that pushed ahead, which is really good. And then the date then that we...
until then, we already start with the first house.
Well, we're already starting with the show house or the show facility, absolutely. But then in terms of full planning approval, we're expecting by October sometime, which again is pretty quick. And the idea, would be starting probably building phase volume. 1 at the end of the year, something like that. So just very, very ballpark. Yeah. A lot of planning has to go in before we get there, but that's a good kind of like timeline.
Do you think people will find that satisfying, Cassie?
I hope so. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a huge community.
That's a very good point, because we're actually building a town, right? So this is not just building a few houses. And one of the things that we need to let people know is that you're buying into the community. So the price of your house includes access to the common areas, all the common facilities, and that's going to be a huge expense and a big project in itself. So
absolutely. What was the last one, Cassie?
And the last one's about mortgages. Lots of questions about that.
Okay.
Do you want to answer?
Well, I don't know if I know enough about it yet. I think it's very early stages. I mean, we have talked to a number of banks, and so the concept of mortgages is definitely possible, definitely doable. At the moment, I don't think we know enough to be able to exactly tell you what the terms of the mortgage are and how much of the percentage. But
we kind of can actually. Okay. I mean, we literally come from a bank
meeting. Well, we just talked to a bank a few minutes ago, yes.
So what they gave us is like a general guide on how you can obtain a loan from them, right? And we have it for different areas in the world, like Scandinavia and Holland, Germany, Britain, America, right? And we can publish those on our website, so people can look what they need in order to get a loan.
Yes. No, I think so. I agree. I think
it's a good start.
It's doable. It's definitely doable. But the rates and the actual loan to values that you can get are still being determined. So I think it's certainly definitely an option. But I think at this point we can't tell you it's like 80%, 90% loan to value or 60%.
I don't think people are wondering so much about that. More like if it's possible and what sort of documentation do they need and stuff like that. And we can provide that on the website. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yes.
Yeah. Was that all for now?
Yeah, you knocked it out.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Are you happy?
We're happy.
Okay, well, nice to meat you guys again, and look forward to talking to you all again soon. Hopefully there's some more questions I can answer, or we can answer, I beg your pardon. So.
Great. Have a great day.